Busted. President Trump says he is designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. But wait, there's more. It's time to follow the money. Plus, exposed. While the country continues to mourn the assassination of Charlie Kirk, some in the academic world have celebrated it and are now feeling the consequences. And finally, crime crackdown. President Trump recently announced Memphis is the next city to be brought under control. Reaction ahead with Senator Marsha Blackburn. Coming next on American Sunrise. Let's go. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
When something happens to your avatar, the children physiologically react the same as if it were happening to them in the physical world. Children are then committing suicide. They are going into deep depressions. They're experiencing anxieties. They have these chatbots that do sensual and sexually explicit conversations with the children. Then they encourage the child into self-harm.
In a moment, the President and I will sign our groundbreaking new technology partnership, the Tech Prosperity Deal. It's a blueprint to win this new era together, shape it according to our shared values, and seize the incredible opportunities that are on offer. We have huge new investments from NVIDIA, Enscale, OpenAI, Google, Salesforce, and many more, backing cutting-edge British jobs for years to come.
We're taking the next logical step with a historic agreement on science and technology partnerships, and this will create new government, academic, and private sector cooperation in areas such as AI, which is taking over the world. I'm looking at you guys. You're taking over the world, Jensen. I don't know what you're doing here. I hope you're right. All I can say is we both hope you're right.
Pastor McCoy, by the way, also co-chair of TPUSA Faith. Charlie and Rob developed a very close bond, and Charlie actually asked Rob McCoy to be his personal pastor. Here he is reflecting on that.
Now, why in the world did Charlie pick me as his pastor? I was the first church that he was invited to come and speak, and I encouraged him to put his faith into everything he did. He continued to call me his pastor, and I was in Korea with him, and this is what I said to him. Charlie, your stock has gone through the stratosphere. It's been since the election. I see very little of you. You don't have to keep calling me your pastor. You're loyal. I know we got history, but there's guys that you would benefit far more from having them. He said, Rob, not only are you my pastor, he said, you're America's pastor. And I said, Charlie, you're in the book of who's who. I'm in the book of who's he. You don't know what you're talking about. Doggone it if he wasn't right. I may not be America's pastor today, and after Sunday I won't be, but for 11 minutes in Glendale, Arizona, in front of 70,000 people and 1 billion tuning in worldwide, I'm going to be the man he wanted me to be. And I'm going to be faithful to present the gospel, to share with them that when they leave that building, they're not going to have Charlie Kirk's name on their lips. They're going to have Charlie Kirk's Savior's name on their lips.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
The administration is planning to take action against left-wing groups that the president and his allies claim have contributed to political unrest and violence, like the Open Society Foundations and the Ford Foundation. The Wall Street Journal reports that officials across the administration are working to identify groups suspected of targeting conservatives or causes that conservatives support. That could include looking at attacks on Tesla showrooms earlier this year, as well as people who have retaliated against law enforcement carrying out Trump's deportation campaign. The president announced last night that he will label Antifa as a major terrorist organization, although current law only allows this designation for foreign groups.
Antifa needs to be designated as a domestic terrorist organization. And hey, if you want to make it international terrorist, there's plenty of evidence of that. In fact, it came out of Europe.
He's like, we're going to go after Antifa. That's like saying you're going after Black Lives Matter.
Kimmel raised the possibility that the suspect in the killing might have been a pro-Trump Republican. According to authorities, that wasn't true. That comment immediately drew the attention of FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who threatened to, quote, take action against Disney's ABC. We should note the FCC licenses stations owned by or are affiliated with ABC. It does not license the network itself.
People around President Trump who are now in the White House spent the 4 years that President Trump was out of power thinking, how can we dismantle liberal with a small L institutions that conservatives have had gripes about. Anytime there is an opportunity and they feel that public opinion will let them push that much further, it seems they're going to go as far as they can.
We're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, that one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. One of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. He was fired for lack of talent. A great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. He was fired for lack of talent. We're speaking to President Xi on Friday to see if we can finalize something on TikTok, because there is tremendous value, and I hate to give away value, but I like TikTok. It helped get me elected. In fact, Charlie said, "Sir, you ought to get on TikTok. You'd be great." I said, "Really? Tell me about TikTok." And we, as you know, we did unbelievably well with youth, like at a level that no Republican has ever even dreamt of. You'll have a lot of very unhappy youth. And I use TikTok very legitimately, very straight, just statements every day, little statements, short statements. "Sir, make it short, please." And TikTok Jack, we call him. It was pretty good. Did a good job for me. It'll be owned by all American investors, companies that love America. We have to remember October 7th, one of the worst, most violent days in the history of the world. Not just there, in the history of the world. And I got to see the tapes, and I wish I didn't see them. Stock market has hit a new high, as you know. We have more than $17 trillion being invested in the country, which is not only a record, but if you compare $17 trillion to the last year of the Biden administration, they did $250 billion. The bond between our countries is like no other anywhere in the world. The United States and the United Kingdom have done more good on this planet than any two nations in human history. Russian soldiers are being killed at a higher rate than the Ukrainian soldiers. But he didn't respect the leadership of the United States.
President Trump labeled Antifa domestic terrorists. Would you consider doing something like that in your country, President Trump? Is there any update on the auto pen?
One person was never told by Biden to do it, only spoke to Biden twice, and that was just talking about the weather. He was taking orders from people other than Joe Biden. They found out that Nancy Pelosi actually was offered the 10,000 soldiers and she turned them down. So they deleted and destroyed all information. Those people are so guilty. They gave a party. And they're sick people. They're smart people. They're very smart. They're probably brilliant, but they're sick in ideology. And they were running the auto pen, and it was totally illegal what he did.
The Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
I'm pleased to be able to announce with you, and I think it's appropriate because of who you are and who this person is, that the Turning Point board has unanimously selected Erica Kirk as the new CEO and chair of the board. Charlie told me personally, and he told others, he probably told Mikey, that if anything ever happened to him, that this is exactly what he wanted.
Wow. What do I think of Jimmy Kimmel? You weren't funny. You weren't any good. You wished death on half of your audience in not so subtle ways. Hey, Wheezy, rest in peace. You made a false claim that this case had been cracked and the culprit was MAGA. In other words, half the U.S. public. Now you're gone, and you're gone legally, and I think legitimately, because ABC leases the public airwaves in order to make money. And that lease comes with conditions, and that is that it serves the public good, basically. That's right. And it wasn't serving the public good. It was acting on behalf of a regime. It was acting on behalf of its pharmaceutical advertisers that keep it supported. It was slanting not just the news, but every joke. This is the public airwaves, a stage that we give people on the condition that they use it with decency and some sense of fairness. and fair play, and in the interest of all of us who own it.
Now they're finding
They
out the hard
violated their
way
lease.
that there's a new sheriff in town at the FCC who actually is going to start enforcing these rules and regulations.
America's Voice Live starts now.
Officers felt that there was a pretty exigent need to go back and serve this search warrant. Clearly, there was some danger to the shooter's girlfriend, that he may carry out some violence against her. We have footage of him the day before in that same cornfield armed with an AR-15. What kind of planning went into this? Was there a threat assessment matrix done? Was there other resources that were asked for in order to kind of combat this possible threat, especially if we knew that he was armed and, of course, dangerous before this?
Well, they did it because of the misinformation. I think the affiliates, this is before even the FCC chairman talked about pulling their license. Affiliates is where the cash is, but that's also local advertisers. And I think the local advertisers, people just realize that the country's shifting MAGA, and people are just tired of it. Nobody will pick it up. The two biggest affiliate groups said, we're out, and then Jimmy Kimmel was out.